2/3 of the world's hungry are in just 7 countries, and the most horrifying, 19 million in developed countries. So people are hungry in the developed world. And 1/3 of childhood deaths in sub-Saharan Africa, 1/3 are caused by hunger. I was asked some time ago, if you had a magic wand in the U.S. to solve some of the U.S.'s problems, and I mentioned a few of them, what would you do? And my answer is, I'd give the person a job. And you know why? Because if you have a job in this capitalistic society, you are productive. If you visit our jails and our prisons, and if you see those young black men and Hispanic men, and mostly of them are men, they have low education, they have low job skills, and they're not productive. And that tends to lead to crime. And anything about South Africa and the model of Nelson Mandela, if you think about it, after serving 27 years in prison, and if you read his book, Long Walk to Freedom, you can't help but be moved. The fact that he worked with his exit, and when he got ready to go, and de Klerk says, we're ready, and Mandela says, I'm not ready yet. Could you imagine, after 27 years, he said, I'm not ready yet. And what he was doing was mapping and planning for when he walked out of that door. Because he wanted it to be no bloodshed. He wanted it to be peaceful. He says, we're not going to do to them what they did to us. It was a miracle, but it was the leadership of not only Nelson Mandela, but many others that fought that fight.
It's a miracle that Nelson Mandela was the one who led us out of apartheid in South Africa, because he was the one who said, I'm not going to treat the whites as they treated us. He says, we're all one South Africa. We're all South Africans. And that was the greatest miracle that ever happened. But his commitment was strong. If you looked and talked to him, he always talked about others in the movement. He never accepted the credit. Every time I was in his presence and I would say to him how much I admired him and all the great things that he did and accomplished, he says, no, it was not me. I was not alone. There were many, many others. But the other important principle was that he believed in inclusion. When I was there, he was working on the crisis in Burundi, and there were some 16 political parties involved. And he said we must bring them all to the table. And that's what he lived. His politics, his life was one of inclusion.
We need to take chapters from the women's movement, take chapters from the civil rights movement. We're just not active. We should be marching the streets about immigration. I mean, we should be out there. You know, someone told me, if you keep doing what you always did, you'll keep getting what you always got.